Hello and welcome to Getter Farms. We're back with another episode of the Westby Wisconsin Revised map, and it is officially harvest time. All of our fields are now ready to harvest, so we're gonna jump on into it. So I think we're gonna start with our beans because we definitely want to make sure that we're storing those until the price is good. And I'm not sure how much we're going to be able to get into our bins here. I'm not sure how well things are going to yield. Hooking up the PTO here. And so we're going to start with the beans. Plus we're already had the header for the beans hooked up here. And generally I always recall that we harvested the beans first. Oops, this is a tight fit getting in here. If I remember right, I had to clip the blinkers through the walls when I was putting this in here the first time. Let's see if I do this. Do this. Yeah. Oh no. What are we hung up on? The snouts? Yeah, we might need to find a better shed for this next time, because this is a little bit ridiculous trying to get that in and out of here. So we're gonna just go ahead and back this up here though, get turned around, and we're gonna head over and do this small field first, because I want to see how well we're yielding with what we were able to do from a fertilizer and a herbicide perspective. It won't be the full yield that you normally get for soybeans, but it should be pretty good. And then we're also going to just go ahead and grab this 4440 and hook up to the grain cart with it. I think this is going to be the easier tractor to have on the grain cart, because we don't have any duals on this tractor. And also the grain cart is the smaller of my trailers. And so my thought is I'll put the 4955 on the gravity wagon and use that to put the crops into our bins. Probably just park it right at the bin and then let the grain cart here run up and dump into it, since we're so close to the farm here. Really, I think the truck and gravity wagon setup like I have it there is going to be more for when we're taking things to sell. That's going to make more sense. And so for now, especially because I'm not using course play or anything like that, I think what I'm going to do is just take this grain cart down the strip here a little bit, and we're just going to park it here on the edge, and we'll dump into it with the combine as needed. And then we'll grab the combine here and get started. And then once we actually have a load to take up to the yard, we'll worry about getting the auger set up and all that good stuff. So I think I'm going to turn my HUD back on here so that we can see what kind of yield we're getting to start out with. And we're gonna just take this around this outside edge, I think. And it looks like this map has the soybean straw turned on. I'm gonna turn that off, I think, because A, we don't have a baler, and B, I don't think you can actually sell it for anything. I think it's just if you want to use it for your animals, which we don't have animals either. We are getting 87 bushels to the acre, which seems pretty good to me. So no complaints there. And I'm kind of leaning into the grass a little bit here because it looks like I've got some stray soybeans that are actually over into the grass a bit. So we're going to go ahead and take advantage of that. We want to make sure we're getting everything that's actual crop. Now this thing is going really slow up this hill. Now, remember when we talked at the beginning of the series, like this is what I used in Minnesota when I was farming, but we were on flat land. We could get away with a wider header like this on this smaller combine. Looks like we're gonna have some horsepower problems with this hill, maybe. I've definitely used this header on flatter fields and not had any problems, so I think this is just the added impact of the hill, although we're not really going uphill. I don't know why we're going so slow all of a sudden. I don't think this header is that much bigger than the recommendation for this combine. Things we're going to have to look into a little bit more maybe after this harvest. I would hate to have to downgrade the head. Not that our fields are so big, but we'll have to see what we can do about it. Now, our corn head is only 6 rows wide, so that's not going to be a problem. Maybe I just forgot to hook the hoses up or something. Let's take a look here. I can't see a visible hose hookup spot like I can see for the PTO. Usually if there's a spot to hook up the hoses, it's visible. Well, I guess I can turn this on. I've got a PTO but no hose spot on the hover menu, so I don't think that's the problem. I think we just are going a bit slow here. Well, let's see what it does downhill. It's almost like the header is just dragging on the ground a bit too much. Maybe that's an effect of the hill, because it's kind of hard to get it to even get started there with the head down. Well, let's keep going here and see what kind of yield we can get. And if this continues to be a serious problem, we'll have to figure it out. But oh no, we're not going to miss the corner. Not when we need money so badly. I think for our money situation, once we switch over to corn, I'll be taking a load or two up to the elevator here as we get into the winter month. The corn price kind of goes up 2 times a year, so we'll be able to run a few loads up there and get back square for money and get the money we need for spring, and hopefully hold on to all of our soybeans until the summer when we can get really good prices for those. So I don't think this is a power issue with this header in the combine. This is definitely something's dragging on the ground, because this hill is next to nothing and I'm at 1 mile an hour on the side slope, so there's definitely something going on with this header that's just not working on, non-flat terrain, and I don't know what I'm gonna do about it. Because even on the side hill, right, we were going 3 miles an hour on the side of a hill. We weren't even going uphill. 1 mile an hour on this part, I get the feeling it's just like bound up on the ground here or something. I mean, now we're going 0. Like, maybe if I can cut out here, I can just do the back and forth on the longer rows and it won't bind up as much when we're going on a side hill. My header's up and I'm not even getting up the hill, so that's telling me that the game thinks I don't have the horsepower to have that header turned on with this combine and drive up a hill. We may have to downgrade our header slightly and find something that's going to work with this combine. I'm guessing that I have maybe, what is this, a 630? I think I've probably got a 625 heads installed as well, so we're gonna go ahead and just make that switch, I guess, because this is not going to work for us. I just want to get out without having to run over my crops. If we can just finish this row really quick, I will go and deal with the header shenanigans off camera here. Come on, just a couple more feet. There we go. All right. We'll be back in a moment with a new header, hopefully. All right, so after a little bit of research, we decided to go with the 625. It does actually say that it officially supports the 9500, so let's give it a shot. We'll go ahead and pretty much just do the same thing we did last time here. We haven't even... it helps if you put the cruise control on. And so this does seem to be working pretty good so far, although I think we were doing fine on this side hill. I guess there's a little bit of a hill over there, so let's just put it through its paces here and make sure this is going to work, and then we'll come back and clean up these little bits of beans afterwards. Definitely not the problems I thought I was going to be running into for this episode. Was not really thinking about equipment problems. Yep, this seems to be working a lot better. I mean, we are dropping down to 5 in a couple of spots, but that, we are going up a little bit of a hill here, so that probably makes sense to me. And yeah, this is going to work out great. We didn't lose that much width. Still feels pretty good here for the size fields we got. This isn't going to take too long, so let's go ahead and jump into it and see how far we get before we run out of space in the combine here. So it looks like we're getting a little bit full here. Not full, but I don't want to be full down on the bottom part of this field. And so we're going to go ahead and unload into this grain cart here. As we come up past him, I'll back up and we'll dump into the grain cart. We tried a few different things out there during the time lapse, and actually it was not my intent for it to be a time lapse, but my microphone got muted, and so there's, I don't know, a bunch of rambling that's not going to make it into the recording. So in cab driving, a little bit of a challenge for me still. Kind of hard to see where the snouts are on this this header. I guess I can turn the header off while we're unloading. So yeah, I don't know that we'll be doing a whole lot of that with the beans, partly because if you look at this header in real life, the bean header we had, the reel actually came together right in the front of the feeder house here, and it was really handy because then I could just line that up with the center row that I was straddling, put it right between the two rows that I was straddling, and use that as kind of a good indicator to stay going straight. But that's not so much a thing here, so we're gonna have to find another way to keep us going straight in the rows, and doing that in cab, especially on the side hill. I mean, we're taking our rows at an angle right now anyway, and this is just the problem with Farming Simulator, is that, even though I planted my rows the way that I'm driving right now, rows are always going to be in a static direction in Farm Sim. So unfortunately, one of two things is, we either have to just always plant our rows perfectly east-west, or be willing to not follow the rows when we're harvesting. Not as big of a deal for beans, but when we get into corn, it's going to look a little bit funny. So I don't know what the best way to handle that is in general, but we'll figure it out for sure. In this case, I'm tempted to actually take the rest of these beans straight, though. Maybe we'll do that. Let's set up, let's turn our GPS on, and we'll just straighten these rows out here. I think that'll be the best thing for us to do. We'll take off a few angles here, but generally it follows the slope of the hill here, so I think it'll look good and it'll help us kind of keep going here a little bit better without getting off so much. So we're gonna do that. This first row will be the weirdest as we kind of take care of this slanted area. The rest of them should go pretty good. I think what I'm going to do, though, is actually come all the way down to the end and grab this point and bring it back with us a bit. Since we're already moving and grooving. And then as we get GPS going here, we'll take the next one completely straight. If we go ahead and turn that on, we should drop right into this row here. Perfect. And so how many rows is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows. That seems odd. I guess I'm a little bit off over there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so this should be probably closer to 8 rows in reality, but just the way that Farm Sim works, and we've lined up a little bit off row. We're gonna take 7 or 8 depending on the pass. I think if we count next pass, I think we'll have 8. So these beans are yielding pretty good. I'm kind of curious to do some napkin math. Once I get turned around here, we'll pull up the menu and kind of see what current bean prices are and do, a rough estimate on where we think we're gonna be for this field. We dumped a couple hundred bushels into the wagon already, and so if I bring up this menu, we can see that the current price for soybeans, we have $22 a bushel. So if we assume we're going to get at least 500 bushels off of this field, that's going to be like $11,000 at that price, and we'll probably get a little bit more from a price perspective later in the year. Once I get turned around here again, we'll take a quick look at the season's price menu. I'm kind of curious just to see from a relative price perspective where the current price is compared to what the high was in the previous summer. And so if I bring that up here and look at soybeans, you can see we're at a pretty low spot for soybeans right now, where in the middle of the summer it was significantly higher. And so we could expect, do some rough math. If this is 1,200 and this is 700, that's not quite double what we're at now, but getting close to that. Another 500 per 1,000 liters, convert that to bushels, etc., etc. So we can expect that the soybean price is going to be a fair bit higher than it is now. So given that, our estimate at current price is $11,000 for just this one field, and that might be a bit high. I don't know if we're going to fill that wagon, but either way, I'm not worried about recovering our $20,000 that we started with. And so I suspect that our hard mode is not going to be that hard. I think we're gonna end up being able to cover the costs that we need for seed with selling off most of our corn, and then the soybeans are gonna be pure profit for us later in the year. So that's a thought, but I also just don't know how much we're going to be able to fit into our bins. It says we have 22,000 bushels of storage. So that's a lot of bushels of storage, but I don't know how these bins are set up. I have a mod that makes it so I can only put a single crop type per bin. I don't know if that's the same bins that are being used on this map or not. I'm actually tempted to swap them out if it's not. I think the bins on this map are placeables that I can just delete and place the other ones down. They're the same bins. If we go in here and look at the garage, my bins, oh, maybe they're not. I thought my bins were placeables. They are not. Leased items? Nope. Okay, well, I'm wrong there. So in order to get rid of the bins, I would have to go into Giants Editor and remove them so that I could place new ones. I don't know that we're going to actually go through the exercise to do that or not. We'll probably just use them as is in this particular playthrough. I'm thinking of the Clark Farms map where the bins were placeable. We'll definitely look at implementing that improved realism on that map for storing our crops. That's what I'm going to do. And speaking of Clark Farms, that map did come out here yesterday, I believe. I'm trying to think about what day it is even. It came out here in the last day or so. And really looking forward to playing on that map. We're going to do a bit of a red playthrough, get some different equipment that I've never used before. And we're going to go for another fairly realistic series, kind of like this one, using some older equipment. And that one's got a really nice farmyard set up, a bunch of grain bins that are set up to use with augers and such. And so, you know, I'm definitely going to swap those out and do the work before we start that series to set it up how I like it. And hopefully those are the bins that are set up, like I said, to only accept one grain type, because that's something that little bit of extra realism and having to struggle with, you know, do I have enough room to store all of my beans or corn, or, you know, I've got an extra 200 bushels of some specific crop. What do I do with it when I only have 3 bins, for example, right? You know, do I store the beans for later or sell them or what have you? So we're going to be figuring those kind of things out. Here, you know, we may just split our storage capacity and say that, you know, we're going to put beans in one bin and corn in the other. And, you know, if we hit that 50% of overall storage capacity is when we stop putting things in the bin, maybe, just to keep ourselves a little bit honest. And we got just this last little tidbit here to soak up. And I don't remember if I had any left up at the entrance of the field here, or if I got all of that. So we're going to hopefully be able to see that as we get closer. It looks like I got it all. So we're going to turn the header off here so I can get up this hill. And I'm just going to dump these right back into the gravity wagon. And then we're going to take a look and see how many beans we got off of our first field here. I am super curious. Oops, let's try and actually put them into the gravity wagon, the grain cart. My goodness. There we go. That's a little bit better. Well, it's not quite going to fill it up, but it's a fair amount of beans. So we're going to rerun our calculation here. In fact, let me jump over here into the 44. So that's 403 bushels. So if I had 403 bushels at our current 22, that would be just shy of $9,000, I think. So that's pretty good. We're definitely not going to be worried about recovering all of the money that we spent to get this far this last year. And so we'll have enough money to do all the right things, get our lime done, hopefully. I'm actually not sure how much that's going to cost us. And get the rest of our fertilizer and stuff down. So we're definitely going to be making some of those expenditures here. and figuring out how much crop we want to save in the bins for the long term versus sell. Because again, we would have to wait for a good price for our soybeans. So I think we're definitely going to store the soybeans and sell more of the corn if that's possible. So with that said, we're going to park this combine down here by the other field. I'm trying to see if I can even squeeze down this little road. We might have to widen this out next year, so I'm not crushing our corn as we drive by here. But I'm going to park this right here, and then we're going to go and actually set everything up to put the beans in the bin, because that's going to be super fun. And so I just want to get that going. I'm trying to think. I actually need a tractor on the Farmall auger to run it, I believe. So we're going to need to get our 4955 out. Realistically, I'd probably put the 42 on there if I'm thinking about it. So maybe once I get this all, or the 42, the 44, 40. Once I get this all set up, we might have to move the tractors around and put this on the grain cart, even though it's got the duals on it, and then switch out and have the 44 run the Farmall, and we'll just park the gravity wagon in front of it. We're going to have a lot of things to think about here. We don't have a lot of room in the farmyard here to do all of this. So I'm just trying to think about where we're going to put this auger even. And the unload bin here drops off on the right side of this auger, so I'm going to need to have probably backed it in here. I'm going to move this brant out of the way a little bit, because I think it's going to be in my way. So let me, I can't see, the bins are in the way. Let's go ahead and just move this into the shed right now to get it out of our way. And then we'll see if we can figure out what the plan is here. What I'm trying to do is get this so that we can pull alongside it for dumping purposes here. So I'm going to just back up from a little bit farther away and get it where I want it, I think. I don't like how it rides up on my, like I'm not running into anything. Why is it lifting the wheels off the ground on the auger? The fact that this is such uneven ground is also fun. Alright, time to start squaring this over here. Oh my gosh, this tractor and I are not getting along from a steering perspective. Need to get my controller hooked up. Alright, let's see. I think I've got this lined up pretty good. I'm trying to lower it like this. We're going to just get up here and boom, right in the middle. Look at that. And then if I do this, is this where that's the fine tuning. Is this, how do I can lower it? How do I get it out? Pipe out. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I've not used these augers in a while, so I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. We're going to lower that down, and then we're going to bring this part back up like so. And then kind of rotate it like this. That's looking pretty good. Alright, I think we're going to go with that. I think I just messed up my auger though, so I'm going to adjust that a little bit. Now, I think that's going to work, but what we've got to do now is figure out how we're going to get some crops in here. And so, like I said, I think my plan is to just use this gravity wagon to do it. So I'm going to move this truck out of the way. Well, I could use the truck, I guess. The gravity wagon would be what I'd probably use in real life, just because it's a little bit easier to control the dumping. But I don't have another tractor to put on it right now, and I don't want to have to keep monkeying with it. And so I think what I'm going to do is turn this truck around. We're going to back this truck right up into this unload point, and then we're just going to use the truck. It's a little bit of a odd way to do it maybe, but you use the equipment that you have available to you. So this is what we've got available. And I'm hoping we don't have any other problems trying to do all of this. I'd really like this to work out. But the first time you use a bunch of new things on a new map, it's always interesting. I've never actually used this grain truck before. I should probably not put my auger out just yet. We're going to go around the back side of this, I think. Nice and hilly. But that should allow us to come up on this truck in a way that I can get the auger on the right side to unload into him. Go ahead and get our auger out. There we go. So that's working pretty good. Zoom down here and look at the fill plane on this truck is looking pretty good too. I want to pull forward just a smidge. I like it's even got the chain, which is pretty much exactly what we had in our grain truck like that. So I'm going to finish unloading this fully and then get this grain cart auger out of the way, because I'm pretty sure when this thing unloads, it's going to just be the hydraulic lift, and we don't want to have any collisions. So we're going to go with that, and coming up on the end here. Perfect. So I'm going to just back this up out of the way a bit. We'll leave her parked right here. And then we need to start this guy up. And then we can start unloading. Oh, perfect. I mean, it lines up and goes right into the auger. I'm not sure why the fill plane for the auger is so far out of whack, but that is probably the mod that I've got installed here. Is any of it going into the bins is the question. No. Why not? Start filling. Okay. Is it actually filling? It is not. F5. There we go. Yeah, it's just too low. It's got to be up here a little bit. Okay, good to know. There we go. Got that turned off. Let's do this again. Now that should work. Fill plane for this thing is still a little bit weird, but I can live with that. Everything else worked out just fine and dandy. And this is all done now, so we've got 400 bushels in our bins, and we're in a good spot. So I'm happy with that. We've got everything shut off here. Did I not shut off this one? I did shut that one off. Is my truck still on? My truck is still on. There we go. All right. Well, that is the end of our first harvest session. We got our first soybean field off into the bins, and everything is working out as planned. Hopefully you're enjoying these episodes. This has been a little bit of a trying to figure things out today, but it's been an exciting episode, and I'm looking forward to getting the rest of our crops in and taking kind of a final look at the end of harvest here on what we think we're going to make for the year. That's all for today. Kedrick, out.